The world sees you as a warrior. They see the Sigma female, the woman who needs no one, the woman who pays her own bills, fights her own battles, and walks alone. But there is someone watching you who sees right through that armor. They don't want to fight you. They don't want to compete with you. They want to claim you. They have a dangerous obsession. They want to turn the boss lady into their baby girl. They want to be the only person in the world who gets to see you soft, vulnerable, and dependent. They will stop at nothing to make you feel safe enough to surrender control. And honestly, it is terrifying. Here are some signs someone is trying to claim you and why they won't stop until you belong to them. 1. The wallet veto, financial dominance. The first and most immediate sign that someone is attempting to dismantle your hyper-independence and claim you as their own is the absolute non-negotiable enforcement of the wallet veto. This dynamic usually manifests in a public setting, often during a dinner or a high-end experience where the bill is substantial. As a Sigma female, your muscle memory is wired for self-sufficiency. When the check arrives, you do not look around waiting to be saved. You instinctively reach for your purse, your card already in hand, ready to settle the debt because you are accustomed to moving through the world owing nothing to anyone. However, in this specific dynamic, your autonomy hits a wall. Before your hand can even touch the leather of your wallet, their hand intercepts yours. It is not a violent gesture, but it is firm, possessive, and electric. They gently but authoritatively push your hand down or slide the bill out of your reach, often without even breaking their conversation with the waiter. If you try to protest, if you drop the classic "I've got this" or "let's split it," their demeanor shifts instantly from warm to icy serious. They might look you dead in the eye, their voice dropping an octave, and say, "Put that away," or "I didn't ask you to pay. I asked you what you wanted for dessert." This is not about money. This is about territory. They know perfectly well that you are successful. They know you can afford the dinner, the trip, or the gift. In fact, your financial independence is part of what attracted them to you in the first place, because it proves you are not a gold digger. However, the wallet veto is their way of signaling that in their presence, your resources are irrelevant. They are establishing a hierarchy of care where your money is no good here because their provision is absolute. It is a power move designed to shock your nervous system out of boss mode. They know that you spend your entire day managing budgets, leading teams, and carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. By refusing to let you pay, they are forcibly removing that weight. They are buying your relaxation. They are paying for the privilege of your softness. They are communicating a primal message. You take care of everything out there, but in here, I take care of you. For a Sigma female, this loss of control is initially terrifying, but ultimately intoxicating. It challenges your sovereignty. You are used to the transaction of equality, where splitting the bill means no strings attached. But they want strings. They want you to feel the weight of their generosity. They want to prove that they are capable of holding you, supporting you, and spoiling you without you having to lift a finger. They are insulted by your attempt to pay because it suggests that you do not trust their capacity to provide. By surrendering to the wallet veto, you are not becoming weak. You are accepting a new role. You are allowing yourself to be the baby girl who is cherished and covered, stepping out of the role of the provider and into the role of the receiver. It is a seductive psychological game where they use their resources to build a golden cage of comfort around you, effectively saying that as long as you are with them, the only thing you need to spend is your time. 2. The physical shield blocking the world. The second, and perhaps most primal sign that a dominant partner is attempting to claim a Sigma female is the establishment of the physical shield. This behavior goes far beyond the polite boundaries of traditional chivalry. It is a calculated, territorial, and deeply instinctual maneuvering of bodies in space. When the Sigma female is navigating the world alone, she is constantly scanning her environment. She is hyper-aware of exits, threats, and the energy of the people around her because she is her own bodyguard. However, when this partner enters the picture, they immediately relieve her of this duty. You will notice this when walking down a busy street. Without breaking their stride or their conversation, they will casually but firmly move the Sigma female to the inside of the sidewalk, away from the traffic and the chaotic flow of strangers. They place their body as a literal barrier between her and the unpredictability of the world. If they are walking through a crowded room, they do not walk behind her. They walk slightly ahead or beside her, using their shoulder to part the sea of people, creating a slipstream for her to move through effortlessly. They place a hand on the small of her back, not just to touch her, but to guide her, acting as a rudder that steers her away from potential annoyances and toward safety. This dynamic becomes even more apparent when the elements turn against her. If it starts to rain, they do not just share the umbrella, they hold it entirely over the Sigma female, allowing their own shoulder and arm to get soaked without a second thought. They are physically absorbing the discomfort so that she remains untouched. If a stranger looks at her the wrong way or invades her personal space, their demeanor shifts instantly from relaxed to pure, controlled aggression. They do not need to say a word. Their posture stiffens, their gaze hardens, and they expand their physical presence to signal a clear warning: not her, not today. They are establishing a perimeter around the Sigma female that no one is allowed to breach without permission. This behavior can be confusing for a Sigma female at first because she knows she is a warrior. She knows she can de-escalate a situation or throw a punch if necessary. But this partner isn't protecting her because they think she is weak. They are protecting her because they view her as something incredibly rare and precious. They are treating her like a high-value asset that must be guarded from the wear and tear of common existence. Does it annoy you when someone tries to protect you, or do you secretly love finally being safe? Let me know in the comments with a shield emoji. Ultimately, this physical shield is a seductive attempt to get the Sigma female to lower her own defenses. They want her to stop scanning the room. They want her to stop worrying about who is walking behind her. They want her to realize that for the first time in her life, she can close her eyes, exhale, and exist in a bubble of total safety because they are standing watch. They are signaling that while she fights the world every single day, she never has to fight when she is with them. 3. The little name, verbal claiming. The third, and perhaps most disarming tactic a dominant partner uses to dismantle the Sigma female's defenses is the calculated implementation of the little name. This is a subtle but powerful form of verbal claiming that fundamentally alters the power dynamic between you. To the rest of the world, your name carries weight. You are addressed with titles of respect, fear, or professional courtesy. You are the boss, the fixer, the leader, or simply the woman who gets things done. Your name is synonymous with competence, strength, and unshakable resilience. However, when this person enters your life, they deliberately strip you of those public titles. They refuse to address you as the world does. Instead, they assign you a pet name that implies a jarring sense of smallness, innocence, or fragility. You look at your phone, and instead of seeing your name, you see a text that opens with "little one," "princess," "baby girl," or simply "mine." This is not an accident, nor is it merely a cute romantic gesture. It is a linguistic psychological trick designed to bypass your ego and speak directly to your subconscious. By renaming you, they are effectively creating a secret identity that only exists within the confines of your relationship with them. They are drawing a sharp line in the sand. Out there, you are a giant, but in here, you are small. This use of diminutive language is incredibly seductive to a Sigma female because it offers a rare permission slip to let go. You spend every waking hour being the bigger person, the mature one, the decision maker, and the pillar of strength for everyone around you. It is exhausting to always be the adult in the room. When they call you little one, they are inviting you to regress just for a moment into a state of being where you have no responsibilities. They are signaling that you don't have to carry the weight of the world when you are with them. You don't have to be the CEO or the warrior. You can just be a girl. It triggers a biological response where your nervous system shifts from fight or flight to rest and digest. Furthermore, This little name acts as a form of branding. In psychology, the act of naming something is the ultimate sign of ownership. By refusing to use the name your parents gave you or the name society uses, and instead using a name that they invented for you, they are claiming you as their own. They are rewriting your identity in their image. It creates an exclusive intimacy that acts as a fortress against the outside world. If a stranger or a co-worker dared to call you princess, you would likely eviscerate them with a look. It would feel condescending and disrespectful, but when this person does it with their specific energy and their proven dominance, it feels like a warm blanket being wrapped around your shoulders. It feels like safety. They are the only person on the planet with the clearance code to access that soft, vulnerable version of you, and every time they use that name, they are reinforcing the reality that while you may belong to the world as a leader, you belong to them as a woman. 4. The decision, detox, taking control. The fourth and perhaps most addictive form of psychological claiming that a dominant partner utilizes on a Sigma female is the implementation of the decision detox. To understand why this is so effective, one must first understand the exhausting architecture of a Sigma female's daily life. She is the captain of the ship, the final authority on every crisis, the architect of every plan, and the designated problem solver for everyone in her orbit. She suffers from a chronic low-level condition known as decision fatigue, where her brain is constantly burning calories, calculating risks, outcomes, and logistics. Most partners she encounters only add to this burden by asking passive, open-ended questions like, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" or "Where should we go?" To a Sigma female, these questions are not polite. They are labor. They require her to tap into her already depleted reserves of executive function to plan yet another event. However, the partner who wants to claim her offers the ultimate luxury, the freedom to not think. They initiate a decision detox by stripping her of the authority she clings to so tightly, not to diminish her, but to let her rest. They do not ask for her input. They announce the plan. They look at her tired eyes and say, "I handled it. Get in the car." This dynamic is jarring because it overrides her default setting of control. The partner sends a text that is not a negotiation, but a directive. Wear the black dress, be ready at 8, and don't eat beforehand. In that moment, the Sigma female feels a spike of adrenaline, partly from the fear of relinquishing control, but mostly from the thrill of trusting someone else's competence. For the first time, she does not have to check the weather, the traffic, or the reservation time. She does not have to worry if the venue is good or if the logistics will work out. She is being invited to step out of the driver's seat and physically and mentally settle into the passenger seat. This partner is signaling that they are capable of navigating the ship without her standing at the helm. They are proving that their judgment is sound enough to lead her. This creates a terrifying but intoxicating sensation of weightlessness. For a control freak like a Sigma female, being told what to do is usually an act of war, but when it comes from a partner who has earned her respect, it becomes an act of love. It allows her to turn her masculine operating system off, the part of her that strategizes and conquers, and switch on her receptive feminine energy. She realizes that this decision detox is not about them controlling her life. It is about them curating an experience where she can finally be a participant rather than a manager. They are claiming the burden of leadership so that for a few precious hours she has the permission to simply exist, look beautiful, and follow someone else's lead into the night. Be honest with me in the comments. How many of you are secretly exhausted from making every single decision in your life? If you would love for someone to just say, "I handled it," type "I handled it" down below. Let's see how many of us are ready to hand over the steering wheel. But be warned, once you let them lead, they're going to want access to something much deeper than your schedule. They're coming for your emotions. 5. The vulnerability hunt, waiting for tears. The fifth and perhaps most psychologically invasive yet deeply intimate sign that a dominant partner is determined to claim a Sigma female is the relentless pursuit of her vulnerability hunt. To the outside world, The Sigma female is a pillar of emotional fortitude. She is the rock upon which others build their stability. She is the one who stays calm in a crisis, the one who processes grief with logic, and the one who swallows her pain so that she can keep moving forward. Most partners are relieved by this stoicism because it means less work for them. They enjoy the fact that she is low maintenance. However, the partner who wants to claim her sees this emotional armor not as a convenience, but as a barrier. They are obsessed with her hidden emotions. They watch her closely, studying the micro-expressions that flicker across her face when she thinks no one is looking, the tightening of her jaw, the slight tremor in her hand, or the way her eyes glaze over when she is overwhelmed. They know that behind the boss lady persona is a human being who is carrying an ocean of unexpressed feeling, and they make it their personal mission to be the only shore where those waves are allowed to crash. They are not waiting for her to break. They are actively creating a safe space that demands she unravel. This dynamic often plays out in moments of high tension or exhaustion. The Sigma female will try to deploy her usual defense mechanisms. She will look away, she will try to change the subject, or she will insist, "I'm fine, really." But this partner will not accept the lie. They will stop the car, put down their fork, or physically block her path, locking eyes with an intensity that feels like a physical touch. They will say, "Look at me," and then, with a voice that leaves no room for argument, "Let it go." They are hunting for her softness. They are pushing until they find the crack in the dam, because they know that once the water starts flowing, the wall comes down. They want to see her cry. This is not born out of sadism or a desire to see her in pain. Rather, it is born out of a desperate need for exclusive intimacy. They know that she shows her strength to the world, so if they can get her to show her weakness to them, they have accessed a part of her soul that is VIP access only. When the tears finally come, the Sigma female often feels a terrifying loss of control, a regression to a state of pure, defenseless need. But instead of recoiling, this partner leans in. They do not hand her a tissue and look away awkwardly. They pull her into their chest, wrapping their arms around her with a crushing weight that feels like a protective shell. They want to hold her while she falls apart, so that they can be the architect who puts her back together. They soothe her with a tenderness that stands in stark contrast to their usual dominance, stroking her hair and whispering that she is safe, that she doesn't have to be strong right now, that she is allowed to be small. In this moment of catharsis, the claim is sealed. They have proven that they are strong enough to handle her darkest storms, and in doing so, they have secured their place as her guardian. 6. The comfort check, hyper-attentiveness. The sixth and perhaps most seductive trap that a dominant partner lays to claim a Sigma female is the relentless execution of the comfort check. This dynamic exploits a specific weakness found in almost all high-functioning, hyper-independent women, the tendency to dissociate from their own physical needs in service of the mission. A Sigma female is often so focused on her goals, her work, or the intellectual conversation at hand that she completely ignores her own biology. She will sit in an uncomfortable chair for hours without complaining. She will work through hunger pangs until she feels faint, and she will shiver in a cold room because she is too busy conquering the world to get up and put on a sweater. She treats her body like a machine that exists solely to transport her brain from meeting to meeting. However, the partner who wants to claim her operates as a hyper-attentive mechanic who is constantly monitoring that machine's gauges. They are watching her with a level of surveillance that borders on obsessive. They notice the micro-shiver that runs down her spine before her conscious mind even registers the drop in temperature. They notice the way she shifts her weight when her feet are tired. They track the time since her last meal better than she does. This comfort check manifests in actions that are swift, silent, and non-negotiable. You will see this when they are out at a restaurant. Before the Sigma female can even articulate a discomfort, the partner is already moving. They are signaling the waiter to adjust the air conditioning. They are taking off their heavy coat and draping it over her shoulders, not asking if she wants it, but physically enveloping her in their warmth because they have decided she is cold. They are swapping wine glasses because hers has a smudge. They are moving her to the booth side of the table because the chair looks too stiff. They treat her like a porcelain doll that must be cushioned against the harsh edges of reality. For a woman who is used to sleeping on the floor if necessary to get the job done, this level of baby girl treatment is jarring. It forces her to reconnect with her own senses. It makes her feel physically precious in a way she hasn't felt since childhood, or perhaps has never felt at all. The ultimate goal of this hyper-attentiveness is to create a stark contrast between life with them and life without them. They want to make the Sigma female's existence so frictionless, so soft, and so comfortable when they are around that her normal life starts to feel abrasive by comparison. They are conditioning her to associate their presence with a total lack of physical suffering. They want her to feel that when she is alone, the world is cold, the chairs are hard, and the service is slow, but when she is with them, the world bends to accommodate her comfort. This is a subtle form of dependency training. By anticipating her needs before she even speaks them, they are effectively silencing her independent survival instincts. They are teaching her that she doesn't need to be tough, she just needs to be theirs. They are not just being polite, they are building a velvet cage where the bars are made of unparalleled luxury and attention, knowing that once a Sigma female gets used to being treated like royalty, she will find it very hard to go back to being a soldier. It's a dangerous trap, isn't it? Getting used to the soft life. If you are a Sigma who is secretly a hopeless romantic behind closed doors, drop a rose emoji in the comments. Don't worry, your secret is safe with us. Now, while they give you comfort, they also demand something in return. And this next sign is where things get possessive. 7. The time monopoly, isolation. The seventh and perhaps most fiercely possessive sign that a dominant partner is systematically dismantling the Sigma female's independence is the implementation of the time monopoly. For a Sigma female, time is the ultimate non-renewable resource. She guards her schedule with the ferocity of a dragon guarding gold. Her days are optimized for efficiency, her calendar is color-coded, and her downtime is calculated to the minute. She does not do hanging out without a purpose. However, the partner who intends to claim her views her schedule not as a law to be respected, but as a rival to be defeated. They are greedy, bordering on voracious with her presence. They do not want a slice of her day, they want the whole cake. They begin to encroach upon her carefully structured life with a relentless demand for just 5 more minutes that inevitably turns into 5 hours. They are not doing this to be annoying. They are doing this to prove a point. They are establishing a monopoly on her attention, signaling that no meeting, no deadline, and no friend is more important than the ecosystem of us. This dynamic becomes visibly tense when the outside world tries to intrude on their time. If the Sigma female's phone rings while they are together, the atmosphere in the room shifts instantly. The partner does not politely ignore it. They stare at the screen with disdain, and then they stare at her. It is a silent, heavy look that asks a dangerous question. Are you really going to answer that? They view the phone as an enemy combatant that is trying to steal their property. If she reaches for it to check an email or respond to a text, they might gently but firmly take the device from her hand, turn it face down on the table, or slide it across the room. Be here, they command. They are trying to create a reality distortion field where the rest of the world ceases to exist. They want to isolate her in a pleasurable bubble of intimacy where time has no meaning. They want her to forget about the hustle, the grind, and the obligations that usually run her life. This time monopoly is a seductive trap because it forces the Sigma female to break her own rules. She finds herself cancelling plans she would never usually cancel. She finds herself lingering in bed when she should be at the gym. She finds herself ignoring calls from business associates because the conversation with this partner is more intoxicating than any deal she could close. They are teaching her the dangerous luxury of inefficiency. They are essentially saying, let the world wait, let the empire pause, you belong to me right now. By isolating her from her usual routine, they are rewiring her priorities. They are making themselves the center of her gravity. This isolation is not about trapping her in a dungeon, it is about trapping her in a feeling. They want to make their presence so addictive, so comforting and so all-consuming that the Sigma female starts to view her time apart from them, not as freedom, but as waiting to get back. 8. The fixer instinct, solving her problems. The eighth and arguably most aggressively competent sign that a dominant partner is determined to claim a Sigma female is the relentless deployment of the fixer instinct. This dynamic strikes at the very core of the Sigma female's identity because, by nature, she is the ultimate problem solver. She is the woman who fixes the printer when IT is offline, the friend who plans the itinerary when the group chat is chaotic, and the daughter who handles the family estate. She walks through life with a metaphorical tool belt, constantly tightening loose screws and putting out fires for everyone around her. She does not ask for help because she has learned through years of disappointment that it is faster and better to do it herself. However, the partner who wants to claim her views this self-reliance not as a virtue, but as a challenge. They are offended by the idea that she has to struggle with anything in their presence. Consequently, they do not wait for a request for assistance. They operate on a search and destroy mission for inconveniences. If the Sigma female casually mentions over dinner that her laptop has been lagging or her car is making a strange noise, she is not asking for advice. She is just venting. But to the fixer, she has just issued a work order. The next morning, the Sigma female might wake up to find her car missing from the driveway, only to receive a text saying, "It's at the shop. I picked up a rental for you. Keys are on the counter." Or she might come home to find a brand new top-of-the-line laptop sitting on her desk, fully set up with her files transferred, and a note that says, "Problem solved." This level of intervention is shocking because it bypasses her permission. They didn't ask if she wanted help, they simply removed the obstacle. They are proving their utility with a brute force of competence that leaves her stunned. They want to demonstrate that while she is the fixer for the rest of the world, they are the fixer for her. They are signaling that in this relationship, she is allowed to retire from the role of the general and simply be the queen who enjoys the peace of the kingdom. This behavior is incredibly seductive because it directly addresses the Sigma female's deepest exhaustion, the fatigue of competence. By solving her problems before she even has to lift a finger, they are effectively stripping her of her independence in the most helpful way possible. They are creating a reality where obstacles simply dissolve in their presence. They want her to become addicted to the ease of life with them. They want her to reach for her phone to call a plumber, only to realize she doesn't have to, because they already noticed the leak and handled it. It is a power move of the highest order, using service as a form of dominance. They are saying, "You don't need to carry a weapon when you are with me. I am the weapon." By taking over the logistics of her survival, they are claiming the right to be her hero, forcing the fiercely independent Sigma female to finally accept that she doesn't have to save herself every single day. 9. The touch anchor, grounding you. The ninth and arguably most visceral sign that a dominant partner has successfully claimed a Sigma female is the persistent use of the touch anchor. While the Sigma female is intellectually superior and emotionally fortified, she often suffers from a specific physiological condition. She lives entirely in her head. She is constantly analyzing, predicting, strategizing, and dissociating from the present moment to prepare for the future. Her body is merely a vessel for her intellect. However, the partner who wants to claim her understands this disconnection and uses a specific type of physical touch to forcibly, yet gently, drag her spirit back into her body. This is not the casual, fleeting touch of a friend, nor is it purely sexual groping. It is a heavy, deliberate and grounding contact designed to act as an electrical earth for her high-voltage anxiety. You will recognize this dynamic most clearly in the car. As they drive, their hand does not just hold yours, it rests heavily on your thigh, high up, with a possessive weight that stays there for the entire journey. They are not squeezing. They are simply existing there, an unmovable object that reminds you constantly of their proximity. This touch anchor serves as a physical tether. It signals to your nervous system that you are not floating in the ether of your own thoughts. You are here, in this car, in this reality, belonging to this person. Another potent manifestation of this claiming behavior is the way they handle the back of your neck. In moments of stress or chaos, or perhaps when you are spiraling into a rant about work, they will reach out and firmly grasp the nape of your neck. This is a deeply primal gesture, reminiscent of a mother cat carrying a kitten or a predator securing its mate. It triggers an immediate biological surrender response. When a Sigma female feels that firm, warm pressure on the back of her neck, her shoulders instinctively drop. Her breathing slows down. The barrage of thoughts in her brain stutters and halts. It is a shut-down button for her hypervigilance. By taking control of such a vulnerable part of her anatomy, they are communicating a profound message. I have you. You don't need to look behind you. You don't need to hold your head up so high. I am holding it for you. This touch is possessive in the most comforting sense of the word. It claims ownership of your peace. For a Sigma female who is accustomed to being untouchable, who bristles when strangers stand too close, and who values her personal space above all else, accepting this touch anchor is the final surrender. It is the moment she acknowledges that her independence does not have to mean isolation. This partner uses their physical weight to ground her, acting as a human blanket that dampens the noise of the world. They are teaching her that she doesn't always have to be the electrical storm. Sometimes she can just be the earth that absorbs the rain. They are anchoring her to the present moment, refusing to let her drift away into her worries, and silently enforcing the rule that as long as their hand is on her, she is safe, she is held, and she is home. This specific dynamic we have explored today is not a blueprint for the masses, nor is it a path for the faint of heart. For a Sigma female, the very act of letting someone else take care of you is the most counterintuitive, terrifying, and psychologically demanding thing you will ever attempt. It goes against every survival instinct you have spent a lifetime honing. You have built your empire on the foundational belief that if you want something done right, you do it yourself, and that relying on others is a fast track to disappointment. Your hyper-independence is not just a habit, it is a trauma response that has served you well. Therefore, the idea of handing over the keys to your kingdom, of letting someone else drive the car, order the food, or fight the battle, feels less like relief and more like a death sentence to your ego. However, this resistance is exactly why the surrender, when it finally happens, is so profoundly transformative. If, and only if, you manage to find a partner who possesses the requisite strength to hold your weight without buckling, and the emotional intelligence to handle your heart without breaking it, you unlock a level of freedom that the single Sigma female can only dream of. To be a baby girl in this context is not about regression, weakness, or incompetence. It is not about diminishing your power. It is about diversifying your portfolio of existence. It is about having the ultimate luxury, the permission to rest your sword. You have been carrying that heavy blade since you were a child, fighting battles that were never yours to fight, protecting yourself because no one else was on duty. Finding a partner who can rightfully claim you means you finally found a guardian who is competent enough to stand on the wall for you. It allows you to tap into a reservoir of feminine energy that has been dammed up behind walls of concrete necessity. But let this be a stern warning. Do not submit to a weak man just because you are tired of being strong. Do not hand your vulnerability to someone who will fumble it. The baby girl dynamic is a VIP experience reserved for a partner who has proven through consistency, provision, and protection that they are worthy of the queen hiding inside the armor. You are a high-value asset, and you must require a high-value vault. So, as you navigate this world of modern dating, keep your standards in the stratosphere. Continue to build your empire, continue to lead with your head held high, but leave the door slightly ajar for that rare energy that knows how to command your respect rather than demand it. If you find that person, do not be afraid to let them lead. Do not be afraid to close your eyes and let them cover you. It is not a loss of self, it is a gain of peace. You can be the boss to the world and the baby to him. That duality is not hypocrisy, it is balance. If you are ready to be spoiled, loved and claimed by the right energy, drop a crown in the comments. You deserve the throne and the sanctuary. Thanks for watching.